For the first couple of problems, the first two equations, we have an equation and then we have a possible answer, and we want to see if this answer is the correct answer for this equation, the correct solution. And then the same thing here, but since this is a g squared, whenever we have a variable squared, we could get two possible answers. So we've got two answers here. We want to check to see if those are the correct answers for that. And then the last one, we're going to want to solve it on our own and then check to see if that answer is correct. So let's start with this one. How do I check to see if f equals 2 is the correct solution to this equation? What's the first thing I do? Yeah, we're going to substitute this 2 in anywhere we see an f in the equation. All right, so I'm going to write out the equation exactly like it is, except I'm going to put a 2 anywhere I see the f. Now, there's something that I'm going to want to do here so that this looks like multiplication instead of just a 52 and a 22. How do I show that it's 5 times f, or 5 times 2 and 2 times 2 here, Taylor? Yeah, we're going to put those in parentheses. So anytime we substitute, if it's not really clear exactly what we're supposed to do, we'll put it in parentheses to help us out. All right, so once we substitute, then what do we want to do? We want to simplify each side of the equation, so we'll just do one side at a time. I want to keep my two sides separate, so I'm going to draw a line of equality here, and that's just going to keep the left side separate from the right side. So let's do the left side first. We have multiplication, we have subtraction here. What should we do first? Order of operations. Multiply first. So we're going to multiply 5 times 2 and get 10. And we still have that minus 5, and then 10 minus 5 is 5. Okay, on the right side, we're going to do multiplication first and then add, right? So it's 2 times 2? 4. So we get 4 plus 1, and 4 plus 1 is 5. All right, so is that the correct answer? Is f equal 2, or is it not? Is that good or not? Yes. That's good, right? So when we get the same thing on both sides of the equal sign, remember the equal sign just means that the right side has the same value as the left side. So if it's the same on both sides, then it's the right answer. So we put check mark. So that check mark shows that it's the right answer, and we've confirmed it's the right answer by plugging it in and checking our answer. All right, this one, we have two possible answers, so we're going to check each one separately. Let's start with the g equals positive 1 here. So just like the last one, we're going to plug in 1 anywhere we see a g. So it's going to look like this. And we want to simplify each side of the equal sign. Do we have to do anything on the right side? No, the right side's already simplified. That's already, that's 0. We can't get any simpler than that. On the left side, what do we need to do first? On the left side, what do we need to do first? Order of operations, we start, if we have them, we do parentheses first, then we do exponents. Do we have any exponents here? Yes. This 1 to the second power, or 1 squared, that's an exponent, so we need to do that first. So when we do the exponent here, what is 1 squared? 1, right? 1 times 1 is 1, so we get 3 times 1, and then everything else is just going to stay the same. And then once we do the exponents, then we're going to do, after exponents comes, so we do multiplication and division next. Do we have any multiplication or division? Yep, 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 1 is 4, and that's all the multiplication, right? Then what? Adding and subtracting. So we add and subtract. All we have is addition here. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8. All right, so is this a correct answer? Does g equal 1? Why not? Exactly. We have 8 here and we have 0 over here. So since they're different, it's not a solution. So since it's not a solution, what do I want to do? Put an X through it. Okay, that is not one of the two answers that we would get for this equation. Now we still need to check the other one though, right? So the other one still could be a solution. So we're going to do the same thing, but plug -1 in this time. All right, and just like over here, I'm going to draw my line of equality just to keep the left side and the right side separate, and I want to simplify each side. I don't have to simplify the right side just like the other one because it's simplified already. It's just 0. But on the left side, we need to simplify this. So remember, we do exponents first, right?
Yes.
When we do the exponent here, what's -1 squared?
+1.
That would be a +1. Good. So we have 3 times +1 plus 4 times -1 plus 1. After we do exponent, now we're going to multiply and divide, right? So we have multiplication here. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times -1 is -4. And then we have our +1. And then we move on to addition and subtraction. We're just going to go from left to right. Do not add 4 plus 1 first, and then do 3 minus that. All right, we just want to go from left to right. This actually isn't a 4, so if we were going to do the 4 plus 1, we would have to do -4 plus 1. It would work if you did it that way, but just be careful about that. Let's just go from left to right. 3 minus 4 is -1, and -1 plus 1 is 0. So is that a solution? Yes. Since we got 0 on the left and we got 0 on the right, -1 is going to be one of the answers for G. There actually is another answer for G. We didn't get it, but this is also not an equation that we know how to solve. So we wouldn't know how to go back and figure out what the other answer is for G. So this is all we're asking you to do here. Then this one, we want to solve this equation, and then once we solve it, we want to check to see if that solution is going to be correct. So first thing I want to do to solve this, circle a variable, draw the line of equality, and what else? Box the square root. So to get rid of the square root, I'm going to have to get that by itself. So I need to get rid of the +5 first by doing what? Subtract 5. All right, so we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. And on the left side, those 5's cancel. That means the square root comes down. So we have the square root of 2h plus 1 equals, what's 0 minus 5? -5. Okay, now the square root's by itself, so what can I do? I can square it to get rid of it. So I'm going to square the left side, square the right side. And when I square the left side, the square and the square root cancel, leaving 2h plus 1. On the right side, -5 squared. -5 times -5 is? -5 times -5 is? Positive 25. All right, then what? Subtract 1. 1's cancel on the left, leaving 2h. 25 minus 1 is 24, and then divide by 2. 2's cancel, leaving h equals 12. All right, so that's our answer. H equals 12. So then the next thing we want to do is we want to check it. We want to see if that's the correct answer. So how are we going to do that? Yes, exactly. We're going to substitute the 12 in for the h here in the original equation. All right, so I'm just going to do this off to the side. I'm going to rewrite this equation exactly like it is, except put 12 where the h is. All right, so the equation was 5 plus the square root of 2h, but instead of h, we're going to put a 12 plus 1, that's inside the square root, and then equals 0. All right, and now I need to simplify. When I simplify here, do I need to do anything on the right side? No, that's going to stay 0. On the left side, what do I do first? So this one's actually kind of tricky. The parentheses, not the parentheses, the square root what you want to do is pretend like what's in the square root is also in parentheses. So we need to simplify the inside of the square root first. So looking at the inside of the square root, are we going to do 2 times 12 first or 12 plus 1 first? Do we multiply first or we add first? We multiply. So 2 times 12 is? 2 times 12 is? 24. So inside that square root we have 24 plus 1. And then we have the 5 out here. And then we can do the 24 plus 1, which is 25. And we still have that plus 5 out here. And then the square root of 25 is 5. And then 5 plus 5 is? 5 plus 5 is 10. Did it work? No, it did not work because 10 is not the same thing as 0, right? So it turns out that when we solved this equation here, we didn't do anything wrong when we were doing this stuff. We did every step correctly. But the problem is there's no answer to this. There's no solution. There's nothing we can put in for h that's going to work. So this is not the solution. Since this is not the solution, what should I do? Put an x through it, and that's it. Now, what we would do for this, if there is not a solution, if there's not an answer, what we would want to do is write no solution. And the reason we're doing that on this one is because this equation here does not have a solution. Usually, if we check an answer and we got it wrong, it probably means we made a mistake. This particular equation, what we were doing is we were taking the square root of something and we got a negative number in this equation here, and that's not possible. You can't take the square root of a number and get a negative number. So this particular equation right here does not have a solution. So the answer we got here is no good.